Williamsburg Bridge in New York City, one of the most multicultural global cities in the world. Today, we'll talk about a major world issue that continues to vex many societies, countries, and people around the world. How to live together peacefully in a diverse society. How can people with different beliefs, backgrounds, looks, and ideas live together without conflict, or at least with as little conflict as possible? To get there, we'll look at migration and its effects in countries like Australia. We'll chart a short history of migration. That's movements of peoples across the globe, and in particular to Australia. And then have a chat with Professor Ghassan Haj, a prominent anthropologist of migration and racism. Migration is as old as humanity itself. We've always been on the move. Whether it's the march out of Africa for modern humans or Homo sapiens sapiens around 100,000 years ago to conquer the entire world, or modern mass migrations across the Atlantic or Asia. Over the last few decades, with the onslaught of globalization, we have witnessed an accelerated movement of people, goods, and ideas around the world. This has fundamentally changed the way we think of the social and culture. We've moved away from thinking about the social and culture as strong relationships within tightly knit communities to imagining them as existing within distance. Think of transnational communities. That's communities that exist across borders or within a virtual space. Think of people connecting on computer programs like World of Warcraft or Second Life. All of these new communities are enabled by new mobile technology. We'll explore some of these issues in more detail in the following episodes, looking at how indigenous people are impacted by migration. In this episode, we'll focus on movements to Australia, post-settlement by the indigenous peoples tens of thousands of years ago, and look at the relative rapid influx of a range of peoples from across the globe and the effects this has had on modern Australian life and politics. This is of particular interest as migration, especially mass migration, has become a major issue in many countries around the world, whether in relation to immigration policies, economic migration, refugees, or the dispute over borders and how to keep some people in and others out. We'll also discuss two key concepts that we hear a lot of these days in conjunction with migration. That's multiculturalism and nationalism. Let's go to nationalism first. Nationalism actually started out as an emancipatory concept to bring about self-determination for people who self-identified as one group, one nation that shared a myth of origin, a common language, a culture, in short, an identity, and wanted to rule themselves, for instance in opposition to an empire or the centralization of power. This successfully brought about the unification of places like Italy and Germany. The rallying cry to come together usually comes with the rallying cry to differentiate ourselves from others. These processes of othering, that's distinguishing ourselves in some way from others, and distinguishing these others from ourselves often goes hand in hand with forms of racism and a categorization of us and them, self and other. This sort of division of the world around us is particularly damaging for what are descriptively called multicultural societies. That's societies with a mixed makeup of peoples from a diverse cultural, ethnic and religious heritage. For anthropologists, this is our ethnographic reality that we can describe, write about, analyze and critique. Multiculturalism here is simply a description of a variety of difference of peoples and their cultures. However, for policymakers, multiculturalism has been a public policy tool to maintain peace, create a more equal playing field for different immigrants, peoples and ethnocultural voting blocs, and to socially engineer a new national identity. Usually, recognition of multiculturalism as public policy involves some recognition of internal others, their organizations, the religions, cultures, and languages. We'll come back to how Australia attempts to do this in a minute. But first, to better understand the Australian case, let's look at how Australia became a multicultural country.